Welcome back to another episode of the Jackrabbit Illustrated Podcast. We're excited to have you join us today. Before we dive in, we'd like to thank our sponsors who help make this all possible. First off, a great big thank you to our title sponsor again for 2024, the Kubota dealers of South Dakota. Whether it's tractors, mowers, utility vehicles, construction, or farm equipment, Kubota's got you covered. With 9 convenient locations across the state of South Dakota and 1 in northwest Iowa, there's always a Kubota dealer nearby. Stop by your local Kubota dealer and see all they have to offer. All A-Team shows are sponsored this year by Culver's of Brookings and Watertown, home of the Butterburger, fried cheese curds, signature root beer, and world-famous custard. Culver's, welcome to Delicious. Next, we would like to recognize the support of our other A-Team podcast sponsors. Cubby Sports Bar and Grill, the best sports bar in South Dakota and home to the Jimmy Rogers Radio Show. Northwestern Mutual Wealth Management, see them for all your retirement and life insurance needs. And the Jackrabbit Former Players Association. And now, here is the A-Team.
And welcome back to another Victory Sunday. Man, fellas, that is good to say. I have just appreciated being able to say that now for a couple weeks in a row. So, Dallas, how the heck you doing?
I'm doing great. Like you said, Victory Sunday. That was a phenomenal win. Really felt good about it yesterday, and I know we've talked about that a little bit, so I'm excited to chat about the game here. But otherwise, I've had a busy weekend. Man, let's see, I went up and I fed Aspen's, my oldest daughter's cross-country team after their last long run of the season yesterday, so that was cool. And I bought a Blackstone to do it, so that was the best part. It was always, man, I've been looking for excuses. I've used it now. I used it, I had to test it, and I took it up and used it. And then I made breakfast this morning, and then I did meal prep tonight. So I've used it 4 times in 2 days now.
Okay.
Good weekend.
Did you went and bought a Blackstone too at Lewis, the cheap one?
No, we don't have Lewis's here. No, that was when you guys were texting about that, I said that's insane because I have to go buy one tomorrow because I needed it to take up there. But
awesome. Yeah, I offered to get him one to him, but I wouldn't have been able to get it to him until like the Saturday of Thanksgiving.
No, like I said, you are a scholarman or a gentleman and scholar, sir.
Thanks, Jallis.
I appreciate that. Man, I didn't drink it. Holy cow.
Scholarman. I like that. That's good.
Yep. There's no time we got to mix words here because we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, right.
You do.
Chad, you doing good?
I'm doing well, Matt. Getting things winterized around the place here. Kubota's one of our sponsors and trying to figure out what I'm doing with my Kubota for this winter. That BX series that I got that Kale hooked me up with a good deal on. And the guys down at Pfeiffer, they're great to work with. So if you're in South Dakota and you have a need for a lawnmower, a snowblower on a tractor, a small tractor, a medium-sized tractor, construction equipment, they got some of the best skid steers around, whether it's tracked or wheeled. Hit up your local Kubota dealer of South Dakota, and then we have the one right over the border in Iowa too. See those guys, they'll help you out. I can't wait to get my snowblower running. Matt, you tell me yours works great. I'm excited to see how far that thing shoots the snow.
Oh, it shoots it great. And I forgot last week, I mentioned that I stopped and picked up parts and fluid for mine just to get it all winterized and ready and stuff to move some snow. And the folks at Farmers Implement and Irrigation in Brookings, they had my stuff ready. I called, emailed some stuff that I needed. They had it all boxed up and ready for me to go. So it was in and out. So if you need to pick up any parts, when you're heading to the game on Saturday, give those folks a call and they'll hook you up. So thanks to the guys at Farmers Implement and Irrigation in Brookings. So Dallas.
Always best to use OE fluids and parts.
Yeah. Dallas, how frequently have you been to Culver's lately? Or,
not as much as I would like in Brookings and Watertown because those are the best Culver's on the planet. But been to Culver's overall quite a bit. Make sure if you are in town for a game day or passing through or whatever, hit one of them up. We appreciate the support. You can go with my favorite meal. I go with a grilled chicken sandwich because it gives me the illusion of feeling healthy briefly. And then I go with a double Butterburger with cheese, pickles, and ketchup. I don't like a lot of extra junk on a burger. I'm kind of I'm a traditionalist that way. Fries, and again, if anybody knows someone at the Culver's R&D lab, if you can come up with a way to get a mix of onion rings, fries, and cheese curds in a single bag, $1 million idea, you're welcome. But yeah, I did that. I've actually been to the one down the street here. Again, wish it was Brookings or Watertown, but kids get custard just about every day. So check out Culver's, Brookings,
Gaines.
Watertown.
There we go.
Yep, Gaines. That's what it is.
Awesome.
Dirty calories.
Great. All right.
Go ahead. Talk a little bit. Talk a little bit about Hudson's year, man. I'm interested. It just ended, as I understand.
Oh yeah, you want to talk a little football here?
Give us a little update. We don't have Lincoln Corner like the hair raisers guys, but
no, you know what? It's my son Hudson. He is a sophomore at Mankato West. Yes, you thought of it because I'm wearing the scarlet. I can't. It's mirrored here, so it's messing me up. Scarlet's hat here, and they got bounced early in the playoffs, actually by Mankato East, who they thumped in the regular season. So it was a rough way to exit the playoffs. Very disappointing for a program that's, honestly a perennial state power in Mankato West. But Hudson, I'm really proud of the kid. And obviously I'm as biased as you get, but he started out as a sophomore, one of only a couple sophomores on the varsity, and wasn't really sure of his role because he's a middle linebacker, but he is behind a guy that's actually going to play at UND next year. So that'll be a good segue into talking about the game on Saturday. But, so he's behind him, but he ended up starting both ways on a 5A school in Minnesota here. He actually, in positions he'd never played before. So H-back and tight end, and he played some halfback, which I guess he has played before, and defensive tackle. He was a starting defensive tackle at like 6'2", 195, and did really well on all the special teams and all that. So no, super proud of the kid. Works his butt off, and he's all ready for next year.
Yeah, his H-back tape is fun. The little bit that he's put out. He's ornery, right?
He's a jerk. He has the right mentality. Honestly, I've showed him Mason McCormick videos prior to games. Be this guy. Piss somebody off.
Awesome. So like you said, let's transition to UND.
Yeah.
And Chad, were you at Brendan's or did you watch it from your place?
I went down to Dan Haybeck's, my buddy's house. And we watched it down there, and I kind of left for the fourth quarter because handwriting was on the wall at that point.
Okay,
had to Dallas, get ready for the murder mystery. So,
yep. I'm assuming Dallas, you watched it from your basement or wherever you watch your games, a quiet space. Okay.
So as has been tradition here this year, I actually listened to the first half. Listen to the radio broadcast, well, actually on the Jackrabbit app, Jackrabbit Athletics app, and so I got kind of a mix because I was on the road. One quick, very random thing, because I've heard a rumor that members of our broadcast crew may or may not listen to this sometimes. I don't know if it's just on the app, but the production guy back in the studio, who is, by the way, fantastic. It's been fun. Do you guys know his name? I don't remember.
Was that
oh man,
the guy back in
the guy at the studio.
Yeah, the guy.
Man, I thought I'd start talking and remember his name. I feel bad, but anyway, he's it's been fun listening to him progress. But at any rate, the different volume levels between Tyler and producer guy and the commercials at least on the app is I have to have it all the way up, and then I have to turn it down to a 3 when it's I don't know, huge variance in that. But anyway, that aside, I just remembered that. Yeah, got to listen, got to watch, got back and watched a lot of the highlights then from the first half. But man, what a fun game.
Yeah. So as Facebook user, I'm guessing again that's Jim. Not sure, but I will Millbank at the Pump, and it was very cool. So if you ever find yourself in Millbank, South Dakota, whether you're there to visit Valley Queen or a game against the Millbank Bulldogs, whatever it may be, the Pump, it was one of our first Jackrabbit Illustrated Bar Network bars. It is very cool, and you would not expect it. I bet over 40 TVs, 8 dartboards, video lottery games, the best, 2 really cool bars, good drink menu, good food menu. And there was about a dozen of us Jackrabbit fans there cheering on the game.
Nice.
And it was just really fun. So thank you to Paul Saylor and Joel Foster for getting me over there to watch that game. And the best part of it, the nearest Dakota Layers grocery store is in Millbank. So I was able to pick up my first 2 dozen eggs for the for the egg toss game. So yeah,
you got a spiff from the athletic department. I love it.
Yeah, right.
fully earned. So I'm curious, talking about where we're watching the game at. How did you guys feel 5 minutes in? What was?
I think it was obvious how I felt on the text group. I'm not one to be super positive, so I thought we came out really flat and looked not great, and it almost seemed like we were back in that funky offense. And then, like, the third series, we showed up with last year's plays. I really don't know, but that's just kind of how it felt. Like, all of a sudden, things were clicking. You know, Mark looked sharp. The first couple of series we had were clunkers, and the fact that the ref got in the way on the defensive play, and our guy kind of took himself out too. So, I mean, that sucked, but
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I know people are mad about the ref, right?
Kobe, that wasn't his fault. No, I ain't mad at him. It just happened.
But again, I wrote this in Rants and Raves. We have gotten in trouble a couple different times this year on slants and loops and games that the defensive line is playing. And it just bit us in the butt finally yesterday. We've had some 20-yard gains, some 15-yard gains throughout this season. That was the first home run, and like Garrett Meyer says there, things happen. And again, that was half of their yards, half of their rushing yards for the whole rest of the game, less than 2 yards a carry. So,
yeah, and to watch the defense come back from a busted play like that, like I feel so good after this game, guys. It was there's a brief, and this is just as a fan, has nothing to do with what goes on, on the team or anything, but as a fan, there's a brief moment I think where you can have a flashback to remembering the quarterfinal and semifinal teams of 3, 4, 5, 6 years back, where they were great football teams, great talent, but there was always at least one stub your toe game where you come out flat, you dig yourself a hole early, and then it's just a street fight in a game that it shouldn't be. And in this game, it could have turned into that, but it didn't. It went. They ended up. UND ended up in that 3rd and 1. We stop them. They get a stupid penalty, and the game was done. And that was it. The Jacks took control, and it was over. It felt so good.
Yeah. Getting Griffin Wilde unlocked, that was awesome. Mark, some of the passes that he threw to Griffin, couldn't have thrown him any better. Chad and I were talking before we started here, and man, like you couldn't have asked for a better throw on 2 of those touchdowns for sure. Just beautiful passes.
Yeah, one on either end of the field too.
Yeah, and you could hear the excitement in Jimmy's voice in the post game with Tyler in that interview. Jimmy was excited about Mark making those passes and getting Griff going. So, yeah. Dallas, you frozen?
Yeah, it looks like he is, unfortunately. We're going to pull him off real quick. Sorry, Dallas.
Yeah.
It was a great game. It turned out great. Our backups got in and looked real good. I don't know that they were running their ones or if they had maybe pulled back and kind of conceded as well. I couldn't really tell because, like I said, I'd kind of jetted it before the 4th quarter, but in the 3rd quarter they looked good. And it looked like they still had their ones in there. So, yeah, Chris Howard says, it's good seeing Kirby Truck and Voorhees get some carries. Yeah, he looked good on a bunch of them. Yeah, you're good, Dallas. We'll just swap you back over here. So I'm on the bottom where I normally am. The over shoulder passes. I mean, he was hitting them from some angles. It looked like it was behind, but no, I mean, the right angle, it was perfect. Just right where you wanted it. Mark had just excellent precision on those passes.
Yeah, I know Borg and Brendan spent quite a while talking about him, but
yes, they did.
Angel Johnson also, man alive, he's looking explosive.
He
Wow.
is just the backs in general. But yeah, Angel, man, when he gets that corner, I realized I hold my breath when Angel runs the ball because you never know. Like there's going to be a seam at some point. There's going to be a seam, and they can hit the seam. It's going to be 18 yards. Like it just just like that. And I realize that I actually kind of do that when he hits the corner because like it's going to be yard and a half or it's going to be 20.
Yeah.
But no, man, he's so fast. And I made a note, something else I wanted to talk about, flipping it to Amar.
Yeah.
Amar might be the best, we'll call it bend zone back that we've had since Josh Ronick. The way that he can we get flowing and he can plant his foot in the ground and turn. And I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago where there's times where I don't think he can see where he's going. It's just a feel because his cut, his angle is so sharp. And I'm remembering back to when I played. Josh was a few years older than me, but Josh was 5'8" in heels probably, but he could plant and he would actually put his hand on the ground when he would plant and go back. And I mean, we're talking, I'm not a geometry guy, but yeah, his angle where he could get back across the field, and there's no way anyone could pivot like that. And that's what Amar feels like to me sometimes. And
Amar's touchdown run caught my attention. I had to watch it back because I thought it was Angel. How quickly he put his foot in the ground there, Dallas, like you talked about, and cut back. Yep. Like he exploded. I don't know if I've seen Amar do that like he did on that touchdown run with that much velocity or speed out of the cut. Usually he's kind of a glider, it feels like. I don't know. But that was cool to see. If he can keep doing that, oh boy.
Yeah, and it sounds like, sorry, Dallas, didn't mean to cut you off. It sounds like we're holding on to Maxwell Woods best we can until the playoffs. And then I'm guessing we're going to see a fair amount of that young man too, because it seems like he's probably earned some time on the field from what it looks like.
Yeah, Jimmy, that was his show, right? That he said that this week?
Yeah, Jimmy said that in his show at the post game, he said it in the post game too, didn't he? So maybe it was just a show.
He said it post game this week too. So I'm curious if it's going to be SIU, because what did he say? They want to give him extended run, right? So that he's getting these carries and getting into a rhythm and stuff like he would in a playoff game. So
yeah, I'd assume it's going to be this weekend, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
yeah. Because I'm excited to preview Missouri State because I don't know what we're going to see with them. I mean that could be a game yet.
You're not going to see much defense. You'll see plenty of offense.
I was going to say, didn't they let Murray State score 31 points? And that might be all I'm sorry, know about. Yeah,
exactly. Don't miss that one. All I know honestly is that they have a decent looking record, and that's about it. So
I think they're a pretty decent team.
The next week problem.
If this is interesting, right? We're getting into scared money territory here, but if their offense can get going up in Fargo, right? We might see 100 points on the board, like in that one, because they're not going to be able to stop NDSU's offense.
Oh, not at all.
Like
NDSU's going to have Cam Miller's going to carve them like Thanksgiving turkey. I'm serious. He's going to make them look silly.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
All right. What else? We're talking offense, though, from UND. What else jumped out to you guys?
Offensively?
Yeah, offensively.
I hate to always repeat what I say in rants and raves, but I think this needs to be called out. I loved the tendency breaker of having Kentrell on the field, who is 5'6", 120 pounds. I loved seeing him blocking downfield on that long Angel Johnson touchdown run, because you see him trot out, you see the dual backs with Angel and Kirby, and then you see the freshman wide receiver who freshmen typically aren't known for their downfield blocking. Lofton's an exception. It looks like he's pretty damn good at it. You're thinking pass. At least I am. If I'm a defensive player and I see Kentrell come out, you're definitely not running to his play side. So what a good tendency breaker there to do that. That was great to see, in my opinion, because again, I've kind of been scouting and watching like the wide receiver formations when they come out. A lot of times you see Marcus Preston or Elijah Irvin out there. It's going to be a run play. You see Kentrell, it's going to be a pass. that was not that way this week. So very cool.
Yeah, you can see just wide receiver blocking in general. Like that has been a focus in practice, and you can see it on tape. You can hear the radio crew talking about it. That has steadily improved over the course of the year, and that's why there's some 6-yard runs that have turned into 12 to 17-yard runs, and that's because there's one extra guy tied up in the backfield by one of the wide receivers. One thing, this is changing topics here a little bit, but I really liked that taking that shot first play of the game, because that was a backup corner that was in, and it made our intentions very clear from the opening snap. I saw a couple people, I think, gripe about it on Twitter, but I thought it was a great call. Just go, all right, we're here. We're going to do this. And, if it works, great. Didn't, but that's fine.
Yep.
I think it was a great play call for sure. Maybe execution could have been a little, but yeah, I'm always the positive one in the group, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. Ray of Sunshine. That's your nickname. Yeah.
I know. You guys just ignore it.
The other thing we got to call out 605 Hogs.
Yeah.
I mean, running the ball, they were resetting the line of scrimmage, play in and play out. Again, I'll harp on it. I don't know why. I'm not a UND fan. They got to switch to a 4-3. They are too small to be in a 3-4 defense. You can't have 245-pound ends in a 3-4. It doesn't work.
No.
Like as a down lineman, you can't. So that's just stupid on them that they keep trying to do it. But no, pass blocking was excellent. I think Mark got hit on a couple of those longer developing plays, but that's going to happen. For the most part, he was clean, and the running game, my goodness, again resetting the line of scrimmage, awesome. Good job, 605 Hogs.
They did, and honestly, the offense and the Hogs specifically won on first down over and over and over all day.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Makes an offensive coordinator's job a lot easier, I imagine, when you're. I mean, I don't know what they averaged on first down, but it felt like they averaged 6.5 yards on first down.
It had to be close to that because we had some 9s in there for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we want to talk about defense then?
Yeah. Only other thing, I think offensively, it was I wrote down a gripe that as when the game got out of hand, I'm like, man, it'd be nice for Chase Mason to get some reps. And then I thought, you know what? It's cool to see John Bell get some reps. Let's do this. And that was kind of cool.
That was cool.
I didn't expect to see that this year at all. So no, that was awesome. Good for him.
Yeah. And we got to see Jack Thuy. So
that was not on my bingo card.
No. I mean, he got banged up, so that's hopefully he's okay and nothing that's going to keep him out of spring. Hopefully he looked okay standing on the sidelines, but the replays weren't great looking. So hopefully he's okay.
Speaking of banged up, it kind of sucks that Kobe Herter seemed to have gotten a little ding too during the game.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's
great. Too bad. At least safety's a position we have depth. Matt Durance has played a ton. Tucker can play all over the place. So that's just
I think it was Tanner that pointed out how great Tucker is in coverage. It's pretty nice to have a guy like that back there at safety. Just and he pops up, fills holes and stuff too, almost like a linebacker, even though he isn't quite sized that way, but he's got such speed that he can really fill in, in a heartbeat.
Well, just the aggressiveness that he plays with, and the defense just feels different when he's out there. Even that week that he, even if he's not starting, when you get him out there, there's a different. I hate the term swagger; it's overused, but there's a different swagger. There's a different feel to the defensive secondary when Tucker's out there.
I 100% agree. It's just a different vibe.
Yep. So no, glad we got that depth, and that's paid off 3 years in a row now. That just getting forced early to play a couple guys that maybe we weren't expecting, and that just year after year after year it stacks.
Yeah, like Chris Howard pointed out, Tucker was like glue on Bellquist. I mean, he got a few plays. Dude's a stud. He's going to get a few, but
good.
they weren't large plays. He didn't gash us. Nope. And that's about the best thing you can ask for with a guy with that kind of talent. I mean,
Jimmy said he's the best wide receiver in the FCS. And if Jimmy says it, I trust him. And I don't have any reason to think he's not. I mean, he's very talented.
Yeah, and part of it's too that the quarterback, I didn't think had a lot of time to get the ball out of his hand because the chain gang was all over in his face quite often on the pass plays. And it kind of seemed obvious when they were going to pass. I don't know about you guys, but it felt like every time they were going to pass, I said to Dan, I was like, hey, I think they're passing. Like, sure enough. So,
yeah, it was just interesting to see Tucker, just blanket Belquist like that. And I was on with Kyle on Friday on Splitting Hairs, and I made the comparison to when we used to play David Johnson on at UNI. He never had huge games against us. And then, you'd see him against every other Valley team and he goes bananas. And then he goes to the league and has a great 4-year, 5-year run. But against us, it was just like, meh, okay. Like, this is the guy. But Belquist, you can tell, is good. But it's just interesting that he goes off against everyone else. And in the what to watch, what was it? He had like 19 receptions against us, 16 receptions for 160 yards and 1 TD through 4 games, so right around 200 yards in 5 games against us with 1 TD. That's pretty damn good. So good job to the secondary. Good job to Tucker yesterday. Darren, chain gang, the backers, we finished with 4 sacks, 3 of them by the linebackers. So that's cool to see.
I thought the blitzes were timed pretty well, except for maybe that first run. To be nitpicky, that one didn't quite work out, but they seem to be quite effective.
Backers, everybody that was in the game just flying around, the speed that they get to the ball is so impressive. Who had that? Spalding had that hit where he just snatched somebody's soul.
That was the quarterback. Wasn't it?
And it looked like the quarterback gated too. And so I was shocked when he was back in on the next possession.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, he did look like he was slightly, moderately cussed.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Dayton McCoy too. Dayton McCoy is playing like a guy right now that knows he's a senior. There's not a lot of games left. Man, he looked good out there just flying around. Maybe he's finally healthy or just, I don't know. He's just feeling good, or again, end of the year career coming up. So good on those guys, man. What a luxury to have 4 players like that have played so many games, kind of can sub all in, just playing like crazy. So law firm chose violence. Indeed.
Yeah, I think they know him pretty well up there in Grand Forks, as the one tweet pointed out today.
Yeah, right.
Yikes.
Another general thought that I had, did it not feel like the coordinators both called great games? And maybe it's all execution, who knows? But again, it's another game where if you don't notice the play calling, if you don't notice the schemes defensively, that probably means that they're putting guys in good positions. And that was, I had that thought a couple of times.
I think on any time you can hold a Valley team to 7 points, hell yeah, like absolutely. The one thing, I didn't like just, plug and play Amar for Chase Mason in the Wildcat formations there, right? Like, because that's just not Amar's style, like to go, straight bam, straight ahead, hard hit right there. Like, that's just not who he is, in my opinion, as a runner. And there's nothing, it's just a different style. Someone in Twitter said, well, we did it with Isaiah last year. It was no big deal. Well, Isaiah's a completely different runner from Amar. Like this, Isaiah and Chase Mason are much more alike than Amar and Chase Mason. So that's just in my opinion. But
it felt really forced, right? Like, this is what we do now. Like,
and they scrapped it. Credit to the coaches for adjusting and scrapping it, right? So outside of that, Dallas, I'm with you.
It felt like it didn't have a lot of weeks in practice.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good call. Let's see. Back to the defense, the ability to create negative plays and what that did to the field position, in the second quarter, right? That was just, it actually felt like you use the term playing downhill, to describe defenses, and it actually looked and felt that way. We were able to, the entire game happened on their half of the field, basically. And they shot themselves in the foot with a couple of stupid penalties, which we stayed out of the chippy stuff until the end. We had one, but other than that, really impressed at. I mean, that's just so deflating for an offense.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up the chippiness too that they played with. Sorry, while you gather your thoughts there, Matt. Sorry.
No,
the fact that we won the response on that and just didn't participate was another W on the field, in my opinion, and that we got to keep doing that in games that can get emotional like that.
Yeah, the one that probably didn't win the response was Quentin Christensen, because if there hadn't been on our sideline, I think he may have murdered one of those UND guys. I'm not sure what was said or what happened, but I don't know if I've ever seen Big Q that upset. So I'm not sure what happened on the sideline there, but I'm sure glad there was SDSU personnel to kind of hold him back.
Yeah, he got walked to the other side of the field.
Yeah,
he looked on TV.
So I don't know. I did have to laugh, in the
prison rules for a while. Chris Howard says
longest yard. I did have to laugh. The breakdown. Did you see the breakdown video on the Twitter account? Danny Freund led the breakdown. Sam Hagen was right there, and I'm guessing Marcus Preston wasn't too far away either. So yeah. So that was kind of good to see. I like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, guys, we buried the freaking lead here.
Yeah. Thank you for our Bison fan, Brian Thompson.
Oh, we're not worried about him. Mark's punt.
Oh,
what?
That was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, it was.
and Griffin Wilde downing it at the inch line. Yeah,
I like what Griffin had to say at the end of the after show about that. Like, that wasn't exactly supposed to go that way, but they were sure glad it did.
Yeah, right. Yep. Brian, thank you for pointing this out. Hey, huge shout out to the Jackrabbit women's soccer team for winning the conference tournament in Fargo. Played on a practice football field. That's embarrassing, NDSU. But congratulations to the SDSU women for winning, I think, their eighth conference title since going Division I. You guys are going to need some, a bigger logo or something to fit all those stars on your patch. So very cool. Congratulations. We are proud of you. I know we don't cover soccer at all. Don't know much about it besides it's kind of fun to cheer for the World Cup stuff every few years and to cheer for you every fall. So congratulations. Nothing. All right.
Nope. Nothing.
Cubbies. I think on Saturday I'm going to go to Cubbies before I come to tailgating. Just because it's fun to go to Cubbies, and everyone should go to Cubbies at some point this fall, winter, whatever it may be. Get yourself some of the great food, get yourself the good drink, whatever it may be. It's always a fun atmosphere, plenty of screens to watch the games that you want to watch. It's wonderful. So, oh, jeepers. Missouri State people are here already?
Oh, is that an AI picture? It sure seems like an AI.
Oh, it has to be.
I don't know.
All credit to Missouri State. We think they're a very good team this year. It's shown by the results. However, 31 points to Murray State. Awful suspect.
Tom, you interrupted my read about Cubbies here. So, anyways, Tom, if you guys would go to Cubbies before we play you, maybe, I don't know, maybe you'll have a better defense in that game. I don't know. But so anyways, get yourself to Cubbies, folks. Best place in town. We all know Cubbies. We all love Cubbies. So yeah, there we go. Thank you, Cubbies.
Yeah. Having a Chislic, get the Chislic.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And the nachos are good too. The nachos are pretty awesome.
Yeah. All right. So offensively, I went with Wildy. I feel like I could have gone with Angel, could have gone with Mark, could have gone with the 605 Hogs, but I went with Wildy. He put up three touchdowns. He just looked unstoppable. So,
and who was your prediction?
Oh, prediction. So Taylor, congratulations, Taylor Murray, last week's guest picker, picked Wildy for Jake, who is not here again. So, congrats on that. Defensively, I picked Tucker Large. No one picked Tucker.
It's a good call.
But I think Bach or Francel could have got it too. So Taylor
see,
again and Dallas had Francel. So
yeah, I like both of my picks. I thought I had Mark.
You had Mark, yep.
Yeah, I had Mark. So I don't know. I got silver medal for both.
There you go.
I don't recall what I had.
Chad, you had Ogrowski and DePriest. So DePriest had
yeah.
a good game too. So
he did have a good game. A lot of the D linemen had a good game.
Yep.
And I think I them all back.
I think I would give my offensive game ball to Mark just because his passes were so mid.
You look good.
Yeah.
Since you gave yours to Wildy. I mean, it's kind of a 50-50. Who gets it, the quarterback or the receiver?
Doesn't this feel like a team that's like crescendoing at the right time? And not that they weren't ever, I mean, other than the North Dakota State game had its issues, and not that the team has been down at all this year, but man, it feels like we're getting a few things together at the right juncture.
Yeah. Darren knows what's up. I gave it to Tucker Large in the official one. So yeah, that's right, Tucker Large. But Dallas, I think you're right. I just got excited when Darren said that. But yeah, we're peaking at the right time. We're getting going.
It's okay.
Did you guys get a chance to watch the Borg show or listen to it?
Right.
No, I did not.
Brendan had been at the murder mystery, had a few drinks, and all of a sudden, like 3/4 of the way of the show, just got bad hiccups, and it was. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and watch and or listen to it.
Maybe I will do that.
And Brendan's 10-minute monologue at the beginning left Borg speechless.
It did.
Like,
what?
Yeah, he pulled a Borg on Borg and out Borg him and just talked for 10 minutes while Zach just sat there and shook his head.
Oh, funny.
It was like, awesome. All right.
I guess that's what a slightly lubricated thumpy does.
Yeah. So score prediction there. I was the closest, 38-13. Thank you very much. Dallas, 32-13. Chad, 42-21. Come on, man. Have some faith in this defense.
I was given into the magic of the Alurus Center. So
all right. Cool. Northwestern Mutual. Let's talk about them. Our next segment sponsor. So Northwestern Mutual, as I've talked about my journey last year, Quentin Hicks got a hold of me, and just out of respect for Quentin and the good guy that he is, I said, sure, I'll be willing to have a conversation with you and hear what you guys are offering. And it was about a half-hour conversation, and had to supply them with a few numbers and stuff ahead of time, just on what I had already for different investments and retirements and things like that. And by the end of it, I was convinced that I needed to shift my stuff to Northwestern Mutual, and it was going to be in my best interest. They explained it well. They showed the possibilities. If I combined some of my retirement accounts, like I said before, I had a number of jobs, number of different retirements that were just little tiny snowballs. And now I have this big snowball that's picking up more and more, which is fun to see. But also in that conversation, I realized how underprepared I was for life insurance, for, if something were to happen to me or Kelsey and our kids and things like that, and how life has changed since I had my first life insurance policy and all of that. So it was a great conversation to help me understand and realize that I needed to do some work. But as Brendan always says, it also made me feel better knowing that I was on the right track at least. So thank you to Northwestern Mutual for your support of the show. And if you are also interested, get a hold of the folks, Chris Schenkel, his team down in Sioux Falls, and they will help set you up for your retirement, life insurance, or whatever your financial goals might be. And as Chad is pulling up here, the Alex's Lemonade stand, our guy Mark is on top, looking good. Good job, everyone that's been supporting that. Chad, what else can you say about it right now?
Well, I know the Hagen's Wagon crew, they raised $125 with almost double the amount of pudding shots that I had. Them guys made a ton, all sorts of cool flavors. And I mean, I respect that, but I'm gonna stick with my stuff because I just don't have apparently the expertise or time that they do. They're doing more than me. I can tell you that. But it sure looked good. They said they had a great time. I know they really enjoyed the game, and so we got another $125 going towards Mark's total there, which, as you can see, 5,026. I do believe that we haven't seen it yet, but I do believe that Northwestern Mutual, our sponsor, you see scrolling on the bottom there, kicks in an extra. Was it $500? I think maybe that's what it is. Something like that they kick in once a player hits the $5,000 mark. So kind of cool. So that should jump, I think, in the next week or two from that as well.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you again, Northwestern Mutual, and thanks to everyone that's donated up for Mark there in the Alex's Lemonade Stand Challenge. Kevin Marshall and Stone Labanowitz for making sure for kind of hosting and leading the charge on this contest as well. So thanks, guys, for everything you do.
Yeah, I guess we're getting some clarification. If you take away the Lemon Top Challenge money that comes in, then it's the $5,000, and then they donate $1,000 on top of that. So you would jump from 5 to 6.
There we go.
So we still got to raise some more money for him to hit that mark. I don't know all the rules. I'm just trying to raise money to help kids fight against cancer.
There we go. Good job, Chad. Good job, Jackrabbit Nation.
Good job.
All right. What do we know about Southern Illinois, fellas?
Well, they're down to their 4th string quarterback, right?
That's what they say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a team that I forget where most of us picked them at the start of the season, middle to top third in the conference, and they looked decent coming out. They got beat by BYU, who looked like they were going to be very good to start the year. Kind of a little like Oklahoma State, which, my goodness. By the way, is that a bad loss by the Jacks in August? Oklahoma State looks so bad.
I mean, it feels like it is. It feels like they're up for our game more than they've been up for other games. Honestly,
sorry. Yeah, all right. Sorry to get sidetracked, but I was just thinking Big 12. That is a shocker.
I see that you said that on Twitter and kind of offended one of our friends.
No, you didn't offend. No, they are so comically negative about the Oklahoma State this season. I mean, they're pretty vocal about their disappointments. And no, I don't think I made them too mad, but they were on it instantly, which was funny. But yeah, SIU. Sorry, we got a loss at BYU. They beat Austin P. They beat Incarnate Word,
and then they lost their quarterback, and everything changed.
Yeah. L, SEMO, Big L, South Dakota, L, Illinois State, Big L, like it just on and on and on. It is avalanche. And then somehow when we thought they had all turned in their pads, then they come back and beat the Penguins last week. So I don't know what happened there. Did anybody watch that? I did not.
They blew a 20-point lead, right? Youngstown did, or something like that.
Like a 21-point lead, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's crazy because I don't know. Youngstown's been struggling this year too, but yeah, apparently because that freshman quarterback they got had 300 yards, 300 some yards, 3 tuds, 1 interception. His quarterback rating's about $110. He's looking pretty good. I mean, but it seems obvious with the INTs on the year. I think he's got 6 of them now. That he's still a freshman and going through some of those freshman things. Like one of the things that I guess we always took for granted with Mark, his ball security when he was a freshman, right? I mean, he was amazing, and that's something you usually get with that young of a player.
Yeah, they're still. I don't know what they're averaging post injury. I mean, they're 230, 240 yards, I think, passing per game on the season, but I don't have a breakdown of kind of where that went. And so afterwards.
Yeah, and so they do not run the ball. DJ Williams is still their leading rusher, and he only played in 3 games this season. Oof. So that kind of tells you that running the ball is not high on their priority list. But what is they have so much skill on the outside. The Keontae Lewis did not play this last week, but he's the leading receiver, 650 yards on 38 receptions. He's the transfer from Wisconsin. Vincent Davis was there last year, 342 yards. The Nashan Hezekiah, he also is a transfer. They kind of restocked their whole room besides Vincent Davis there, having a good year. And then the one player to kind of point out that's just an interesting story, the Jackrabbit, the local connection, right, is Bradley Clark. And Bradley Clark was the guy that was a linebacker commit for us. And then I think he decommitted like on the Super Bowl or right around the Super Bowl time because he wanted to play offense. And so he went to Tennessee Tech, I believe, and was a good wide receiver there, put up some good numbers for Tennessee Tech, and then just transferred to SIU this year, not having probably the year that he wanted. 11 receptions, 125 yards is all, but kind of unique connection there, right? So
your knowledge is impressive and a little overwhelming sometimes. I'm gonna be honest.
Sorry.
Only you will remember that besides the staff, I feel like.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
You're the kind of guy that finds like some wide receiver tape and sends it to the coach and gets us some kind of walk-on stud or something.
I just like recruiting.
Yeah,
I can't help
Yeah,
it.
no, I know. It's awesome.
No, it's not a bad thing.
Nope, I'm impressed. I don't have that kind of. I don't have a brain for names like that at all. How many years removed are we from them having their like 30 FBS? They had some giant FBS transfer year, didn't they?
I mean, they
Like
still
3 years
do.
ago?
Like they still do, right?
Did they
Like
this year too?
Yeah, like that's honestly Nick Hill. I'd say like 2/3 builds through the portal. Like, yeah, I would not, if I was a graduating senior, I don't know how hard I'd look at SIU because they're going to continually recruit portal guys. Honestly, like, I don't mean to be negative about their recruiting, but that's how they like to build.
So it's not working right now. I don't know. I mean, I get you got injuries and stuff, and eventually you're going to hit a home run. But
yeah, right.
I don't know. I've always had a lot of respect for the program. I think Nick Hill's a great coach. I really do. I don't know. I've talked about it probably every year, but went down there the COVID year, got to see a game in that stadium, and yeah, I just it's been weird kind of watching them decline here a little bit.
And I mean, they lost 3 of their best defensive players for sure last year, right? Like PJ Jules graduated.
Right.
They had linebacker that went FBS. And then Dune Smith went to Incarnate Word, right? So like there's 3 of their best players.
Yep.
I think they lost their good corners too, if I remember right. One of their good corners transferred out. So it's just
names aren't familiar there.
Yeah, like like Ben Bogle. Ben Bogle at linebacker has been there for quite a while. But other than that, I'm just looking at these names and like, shit, who are these guys? So they've struggled defensively, right, this year. What are they giving up? 32 points a game. So
32 points, they a lot of yards in the air.
Yeah. So this could be another fun Griffin Willie game, right?
Yep.
So
no, I got that feeling too. And I wonder if we're gonna see anything to try to get the freshmen a few extra looks, just in, I don't know. I mean, if they're assuming they're gonna throw the ball around after that game, you got to assume that they're gonna double Wildy whenever they can. So then that opens opens up lanes for somebody else, whether it's Ogroski, whether it's a couple of the tight ends. I'd love to see some tight end involvement again this week. We had some flashes 2 weeks ago. UND game, did we have
Stoffel had a catch Stoffel had a catch for sure.
Okay.
Which we might as well be negative for a second.
I feel like we had one more target too that didn't pan out.
Yeah. So lots of speculation this week, right? On Brody Gormley. He looked like he kind of left the game injured. And then he's not on the depth chart. So we kind of figure, Brody Gormley's did get hurt in that last game. Well, Brody Gormley is not on the roster anymore. So that's disappointing that he chose to leave. But we knew at some point one of these tight ends had to leave, right? There's so many numbers at the tight end position.
Yeah.
It just stinks because, he's going to be missed on kick coverage, if nothing else.
Yeah.
He's a monster on kick coverage.
So, yeah. So that's kind of a bummer that that's how that played
ends up.
Yeah, right.
Too bad, but
because he's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, but a bit of a bummer there. But anyways, yeah, I'd like to see that too. I mean, maybe we get some Jack Smith this game also running a little higher. He still has a game left, so why not, let him play in this one with Lofton and see if we can get Cantrell going and just go from there. See what we can do.
Well, you're pointing out how we don't really know who these guys are. We're going to bring on a special guest. We'll have a guest host with us on the B team that probably can shed a little light on that since they're his guys.
We get to hear all about their FBS
skills. All about their FBS players.
I'll make sure that he doesn't bring his fishing pole, okay?
You know what an FBS player that's on an FCS roster is? An FCS player.
Ding, 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 ding.
The good thing is he's going to have to hear about that from Tex because I don't think he watches this show, but definitely.
He was on last week, wasn't he? He hopped on.
Yeah, he did last week.
Yeah.
He don't chime in often. That's what I should say, maybe.
Yeah.
You're talking about, of course, all-world
name
team Stone Labanowitz.
Yep.
Did you see the pictures of him on Twitter with hair? It was so weird.
Oh, I've never seen him.
Oh yeah, you know how Big Thumpy happened? He was chatting back and forth with that guy a little bit too, and the guy called him out for being bald, and he showed his high school pictures, and I asked him if he was stealing Scott Sapp's pictures from high school.
Oh gosh.
So I just realized we probably should be a little clearer if people don't know. So Stone Labanowitz, he's a co-host on the FCS Fans Nation Radio.
FCS Nation Radio.
Yep. Sorry, FCS Nation. Let's blend those two together. Nation Radio, syndicated radio program with Kevin, and he is a former quarterback for the Salukis. So.
Yep.
And he'll be on B team this week. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
And he was the quarterback in the spring season, right? That playoff game that was just epic. Just one of the best football games I've ever seen.
Yeah, not the one where they came back and beat us.
No. The one in the spring season. Stone was the QB for that.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then in the spring season, or the fall season, then that was when he made the fishing comments, right? He needed another
putting a big fish. It's another big fish we'll put up on our mantle,
something like that.
Put other big fish up there.
Yeah. So
I think Tolu and who else maybe latched onto that a little bit.
Bacchus. Yep.
Bacchus.
Yep, I remember Bacchus celebrating it. Yep. So good stuff. Good Stone. But I just can't wait to hear him talk about SIU's perimeter talent and FBS talent. That man,
it's all about the skill players. You guys don't got the skill players to match up with ours. Yeah. He's had some liners, but that's just Stone. The more you get to know him, the more you like it.
Absolutely, had a blast with him in Frisco last year.
Good dude.
Yeah, like Jim Poppin says, he does not lack confidence or trash talk.
Yeah, he's
good. Correct.
All right. Who do we got? Should we have Darren Amick? You're going to be our guest picker this week for Jake.
Ooh.
So there we go. So Darren/Jake. All right. So Dallas, I'll let you go first. Who are you picking for offensive?
Offensive, we are going to throw the hell out of the ball this week, and I'm going to take Mark again. I think he got robbed by you not getting it this week. But so I'm going to double down. QB1, Mark Gronowski.
All right. Darren, get yours in. Chad, who are you going with?
I'm going with 21. I think it's a good game for his speed against these guys.
Okay. And I'm going with Lofton. I'm going with Lofton this week. So Ogroski. And it's not Logan, folks. It's not Logan. It's Lofton.
Yeah.
Lofton. So, I have so much trouble not saying Ogroski, and I don't know why. I've never met anyone named Ogroski. Ogroski, yeah. I keep.
Okay, Darren is going with Angel on offense also.
Nice.
And then Beanham on defense. Okay. Chad, make Dallas go last. Chad?
I think it's a good game for Mr. Bach. We haven't seen him really shine because the other backers have played so well Like, I think that's part of why. Not that Jason Freeman wasn't a stud, but I think that the two guys are so balanced comparatively that, and they're playing their position and staying home the way they're supposed to. I think Bach. I think I want to see him have a good game and get a couple sacks.
Okay. It's been awfully quiet lately after such a strong start to the year. And maybe that's a good thing because people aren't throwing his way. But I'm going with Kobe Humphrey. So Kobe Humphrey. Yep. Dallas?
I, in a similar vein, thought about going to the defensive lineman because I think we're going to get up 14 points pretty quick, and they're going to be trying to chuck the ball, and we're going to get after them on the defensive line. But instead of that, their turnover woes are going to continue, and Dallas Beanham is going to get back on the stat sheet with a pick and maybe even a pick 6. Dallas Beanham.
Ooh, all right. Getting close to your dad then.
Yep.
One closer to Charlie. All right. All right.
Maybe
Darren
two,
said, yeah, right. Darren said 38-6. 38-6. Dallas, what are you going?
They have given up a ton of points here recently. 38 to Missouri State, 20 to the Sycamores, which is a lot for them. 33 to the Penguins. So I think the Jacks are scoring points. I'm going to go 40. Let's go a weird number. 43 and 13.
All right,
I think
Chad.
this is a beatdown.
Garrett Meyer almost said the exact same thing I was thinking. I'm going to give him a field goal on that. Garrett Meyer says 45-7. I'm going to say 45-10, and apparently that's what you were thinking.
Yep. All right, we're going to get another touchdown. So 52-10.
Woo!
Oh, Butterburger.
Butterburger territory, our third one of the year.
If they have bulletin boards at this point in the year yet, we just made it with those picks.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're able to score on them. We had a 28-point quarter last week, and we
He's
kind of
freezing
left
his
our
time.
foot off the gas. But I'm sorry, I'm slowing down bad, aren't
I?
Yeah, it's getting late. That good dad joke there. All right. Chad, what'd you say?
Little too much bandwidth out there. I just said we had a 28-point quarter this week, and I could see, and then we kind of reeled it back a little bit, so I could see it being less. I mean, I could be talked down, but I think if we keep our foot on the gas, like we tend to a little bit more at home, I think we can get that 50-some points. It would be nice to see Chase Mason get back in the game, but if we're not going to need him, I'd say precautionarily just keep him on the side.
And at least 1 foot on the ground at all times.
Yeah.
No jumping.
Chad is running the Kinkle model in the background. So, all right.
CPU usage is off the charts.
Yeah. So I am interested in this Missouri State NDSU game. We don't ever talk about the other Valley games. Hardly ever. I'm just super intrigued. I don't think Missouri State's going to be able to score on NDSU. But if they do get rolling and, get NDSU off kilter a little bit, there is going to be 80 plus points in this game. I'm pretty confident in that one. Like if Missouri State can do their part, which is a big if against that defense. So
yeah, it's a good defense.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Dallas? What are you thinking?
No, honestly, I don't know that I do. I hadn't put any thought to it or looked at the schedule for this week coming up. But right. I don't know. I'm more interested, honestly, in the Big Sky the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to be paying attention to and watching. Interested to see what Montana State and Cal.
UC Davis. Yep.
Yeah, UCI. Cal Davis does next week. And then, sorry, Parlay, I'm going to be a big Grizzly fan, Brawl of the Wild, coming in at the end of the season.
Right? So, who else? Like, Weber State goes to Idaho, but Weber State's bad. Sac State's bad this year.
Are we going to talk about how UNI's all but packed it in? And
yeah. That's worth mentioning.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, good call. and then no one takes it. So for anybody that didn't catch it, legendary coach Coach Farley is
Bellator.
retiring. Yeah, is retiring after this season. And Matt, could you actually explain? You said you saw something on a USB message board.
So I was perusing. Yeah, I was perusing the USD message board, and one of their people on there said that
they have like 6 people, or how many?
Right. The USD homecoming D-Days or whatever it's called. That he was standing behind the bench and he yelled at Farley like, "It's time to retire, Farley," or something like that. Farley had no reaction, but one of the UNI players turned around and like either gave him like a thumbs up or like a golf clap or something like that. Like, I don't, again, if who knows, some of the shit on message boards, you never know if it's true or not, right? But still, if it is any kind of true, and we talked about that, right? Looking like there was a disconnect between Farley and his players for the last couple of years. Like, so it's too bad.
The thing is, it's been so long. You got to wonder if they're going to be able to reel it back because they're just down far, and with the way the portal is, it's going to be a tougher hill to climb, I think, to come back out of that hole.
And who are they going to get with the budget that they have with that crappy stadium? Like,
that's it. How do you blame? I don't even know how you blame the coach, unless there's like a scandal or something. How do you blame the coach when everyone is aware that athletic department is a dumpster fire, and they have no budget, and it's frustrating. It sucks. Most of us have talked about how the FCS is better when UNI is a good competitive team. I mean, that is a storied, proud program, and it sucks.
I like everything about Teachers College except for their colors.
Yeah. And Chad, like 2 years ago when we were there, we were the only people tailgating. So that was a little weird too. But
that was odd.
Yeah. It's like, are we in the right spot?
It was raining out. I guess they're not as diehard as we are in Brookings, where we take on 50-mile-an-hour winds. And
everybody grab a post.
grab the top too, because we don't want that flying off. If you were there, we're not exaggerating.
Yeah, right. All right. Anything else, guys?
I don't think
we're
so.
Going to see a return, I believe, of the takedown. Should be this week, Wednesday at, I think we're going to do 8. Got to clear that with coach, unless we have to push it back a week. But if not this week, then next. So
awesome.
Keep an eye out.
Oh, that's exciting, man. That team is looks just unbelievable.
Yeah. Speaking of transfers, we got some very, very good transfers coming in at the right weights, and that's exciting. Guys did pretty well in Fargo. I didn't get a chance to see all of what happened at DWU, but that's usually a little our younger guys. So we'll see how that turned out.
Cool. Yeah. In closing here, quick, we did not talk about the JFPA. Jake normally takes that, but all I wanted to say with that is we do at Jackrabbit Illustrated partner with them on several things throughout the year. They're great partners of ours, and we appreciate it. If you are a former player, join. It's a network. It's going to continue to grow. It's kind of being modeled. I'm a member. I'm not in administration or anything, but modeling it after. There's a lot of very successful player association programs around the country that do things for the program, purchase different things. JFBA has purchased the alternate helmets. They do things to feed the team. Lots of cool stuff. You can get in for as little as like $100. There's no reason not to join. You can still be part of it and make a difference.
Yep. And then this week we have 2 tickets to give away also for Jackrabbit Illustrated. It's our final ticket giveaway of the year. We'll do some sort of contest. Haven't decided yet what that's going to be.
Handstand contest.
Fun. Yeah, handstand
contest. Lemon top contest.
Yeah. So, we'll go with that. And then just again, thank you to all of our sponsors that make this possible. And thanks to everyone who, joins us every Sunday in the discussion here, the chat. So love you guys. It's just a ton of fun. I don't know how much longer, probably another 8 years of doing this. I don't know. It could be 2 more years. I don't know. But we'll absolutely love this 8 years in. and it is because of you and the interest and the team and all that. So thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. Yes, Miles is still sponsoring Chad. He has to give him some money at some point. He feels bad about that he hasn't paid Chad anything yet. So
He pays me in high fives. I'm good with it.
yeah. So, all right. With that, go big, go blue,
Go blue.
go Jack.
Go Jacks,
Go
guys.
Jack. Sorry, I threw that off.